Before we get into this episode of Hooked on Helis, we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge some deeply sad news. First and foremost, we are a community, a family, and today our family is hurting. We are heartbroken to learn the passing of our dear friend Alicia, the owner of Heli Shop. This episode was recorded prior to hearing the tragic news, and we wanted to share a few words before we begin. Alicia was not just a key figure in our hobby, he was a kind, passionate, and generous soul who gave so much to the RC Heli community. He was extremely dedicated to the hobby, and his absence will be felt deeply. On behalf of all of us at Hooked on Helis, our heartfelt condolences go out to Alicia's family, friends, and everybody at Heli Shop. We are truly sorry for your loss. He will greatly be missed.
Welcome to Hooked on Helis, the UK RC helicopter podcast. Whether you're just starting out or you're deep into the collective pitch life, Hooked on Helis is your go-to podcast for everything radio-controlled helicopter in the UK and beyond. From grassroots flying fields to international events, we're here to bring the hobby to life, one rotor blade at a time. Featuring Rob Turnbull, Richard Van Aken, George Isaacs, and Sonny iCandy.
Hello and welcome back to Hooked on Helis, the UK's dedicated podcast for all things RC helicopter. I'm your host, Sonny, and before we deep dive into today's episode, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who tuned into our first episode. Guys, any feedback from any of the community?
I've heard quite a bit on my travels around here and there. It's all been positive, which is nice, and people looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I've had a lot of messages for episode 2. But yeah, the feedback has been amazing. Kind messages to constructive thoughts and suggestions. It all helps shape this podcast and makes it into truly something useful and exciting for all of us, I think.
I'm excited.
Absolutely.
So
Yay.
Thank you again.
Go on, George.
Go on, George. So yeah, thank you again to everybody. We really appreciate everyone who reached out to us and took the time to listen and come back to us and feedback. So yeah, thanks guys. It really means a lot to us. Now on to episode 2, and we've got a packed one for you. Rob, who have we got on?
Well, this week's special guest is none other than Hamish Morley of Kinisy. He's got some fascinating products out, and we had a lovely little chat with him. So we'll be listening to that later on.
Wicked. We'll also be talking about in this episode the new Mikado V8 software. I think Rich and Rob will do a deep dive into that. These guys have been testing it out. And then we'll also start talking about Helifest, which is just around the corner. And we'll share with you what you can expect. We've also got updates from the field and our latest heli news with some great Q&As from some of our listeners. So let's get onto it.
From the field.
Let's kick things off from the field segment. This is where we catch up with the team and talk about any recent flying that we've been doing, the events we've attended, and share the good, the bad, and the sketchy landings. Rob, what have you been up to?
So since last we spoke, there's been a couple of places I've visited. The Milton Keynes Helicopter Club had their annual fun fly again. It was a tad breezy still. The wind has just not let up in the UK for some time, it feels like. But yeah, it was a great day. Got plenty of flying done. There was lots of good flying going on by the usual suspects.
Anyone we know?
Quite well, you know. One of our co-hosts was there, showing us all how it's done.
One, I think there were a couple of us.
2 of our co-hosts were there.
Thank you, George.
George made it out of bed, you mean?
Well, let's put
He
it.
arrived eventually.
I think we should rather say one of us was missing from the MK Heli Club.
Oh, yeah, that's more accurate. Yeah, somebody didn't make it.
Okay, yeah. Sonny, can you give us your details on the time at the event?
Unfortunately, yeah, I didn't make it. I've not been flying much over the last 2 weeks, unfortunately.
Somebody's been a busy boy.
I have been extremely busy. I apologise.
No excuses.
It's definitely not like me, but unfortunately, I didn't make the event where I was hoping to get there and meet you guys. But
you were missed. People were asking where you were, and I'm like, I'm not his keeper. So move on.
It's nice to know that they were thinking about me. But yeah, apologies, guys. I didn't make it. I did try. Unfortunately, last-minute jobs came in for me, which I had to get out the door. These are the joys of being self-employed, unfortunately.
Yep.
But I think all three of you guys were there. I know it was windy, but
Yep.
How did the day go? What did I miss?
It was good. There was lots of good flying going on. There was a small number of pilots, I would say. It's one of those things where events build up again over time. It's been a while for events in general, I think, in the UK. So I think it's getting the event scene back up and running and getting pilots attending them to make them great.
It's normally quite a busy event, MK flying, isn't it?
Normally. I mean, the forecast wasn't great before because it was meant to be raining. Luckily, we managed to avoid most of the rain till about, I'd say, 4:30, and it started spitting a bit. But, I mean, there was a decent number. There was a decent crowd.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
There's about, 15 pilots, I'd say.
That's a good turnout.
So it was great. And Duncan brought a, what the hell was that? A 20-year-old?
It was an XL something.
Fury?
Fury.
No, it wasn't a Fury, I don't think. I could be wrong.
I've forgotten what it was. Oh, dear.
You have to do some research and I can find out.
It hasn't seen skids up for quite a while.
Well,
clearly.
I don't think it's seen daylight. I don't think it's seen daylight, let alone.
All the old CSM technology on board, the 720 gyros, pre-production, so not in cases, or anything like that. Revlock, governors, needle adjusters and stuff. It was great.
I'm sure we could have got it in the air.
It didn't fly on the event then?
No,
Right.
that didn't fly. He did, that didn't.
Did you try? Did you attempt it?
I doubt it at the start, looking at it, to be fair. It was funny. It was good.
But yeah, I saw one of your flight videos, George, from the event. Like, you could see the wind and howling, and it looked like it didn't affect you at all.
No, it did. It was like trying to get it back over to the left of the field as like Mission Impossible.
Right.
It was properly, I think, what was it, like 40 gusting?
Right.
Borderline
it was
40.
Strong left to right.
It was bad.
And that was, the constant was in the 20s still.
That's perfect training for Helifest.
How many flights did you get in, Rich? Did you do much flying? Or
A little bit, yeah. I think I got about 24.
Wow. What time did you get there then? You must have got there pretty early to get your...
No. I got there at about 9. Just Droid and Callum.
Got there at 11 and got like 30 in.
I kind of feeling like I did really miss out. I wish I was there now, to be fair. Shame.
I had a good few flights as well. It was great. It was all right.
Yeah, but I'll definitely try and make it next time, guys. Apologies, everybody at MK. I promise I will be there at the next event. Come rain or shine, I'll be there.
Can we have that in writing, please?
I'll sign that contract. Any other events that you've been to recently, guys?
So, following on from the MK Fun Fly, personally, I then, the following weekend, ended up with a few friends up at the North Knots Club. Rich also was there as well.
Yeah, that's good.
And the weather was a lot kinder. It was still a bit windy, but nothing like it has been for some time.
Right.
And I think, we banged a lot of flights out there, didn't we, Rich?
Yeah. I think it was such a nice day. The only thing was the bugs were out in force. So I had, climbing up your back while you're flying inside your shirt. And,
Oh, is that
interesting?
Is that the excuse you're using then, Rich?
yeah, it was a bit made my flights a bit ragged, I'd say.
For them dodgy flights.
But no, that was good fun. Again, lots of flying going on. There's just a few friends gathered. It wasn't any sort of official event or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, another good day.
Great. I've never been to that North Notts field. Is it quite a nice club to go to? Like, is it north facing?
Superb. Yeah, great directional field, sort of north. Massive wide open space and good facility. Great bunch up there. Superb.
Very wide flight line. Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Is it shared flight lines as well?
You can do.
Okay.
It's very easy to share it.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you easily get 4 flight stations.
Wow. Sounds like a big field.
Yep. It is enormous.
Definitely like to visit at some point.
Yeah, I have to add that in the calendar.
Another one to put on your little contract for next year.
It's going to be a lot of contracts I need to commit
It's
to.
all good saying these things, but I need to see
I have
that.
to commit to a lot of these contracts, don't I? What are the penalties if I don't show up?
Well, everyone you miss.
You have to pay us
We'll
a
have to
tender every
give
time
you
you
the
miss.
bumps or something.
Great, yeah. Battered and bruised, I think that's what's going to happen. Right, guys, any other events that we've been to? Any fun flies, anything else?
Well, we had Ainsford Fun Fly, which you 3 avoided on the Sunday after
Bit
MK.
harsh.
I don't think I knew about that event. I don't think I got an invite.
I'm joking. Everyone was invited. But luckily, I mean, it was a complete contrast day to MK. There was barely any wind, really, because you got this great big tree line behind you blocking everything. And the wind was luckily coming from that direction.
Nice.
And sunny and was amazing. Had about 25 flights again, warming up for Helifest. So
Yeah, I
Cool.
don't think the weather's been too kind to us over the last couple of weeks, unfortunately.
especially this week.
Like the winds here are 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts and just constant rain over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
At least it's a level playing field, you know? Everyone's in the same boat.
Apart from the people who like flying in the rain and wind.
I don't know. I don't know. Not even Rich will do that.
They need to be sent to a psych ward.
We're looking at Rich. We're all looking.
He's weighing it up.
Like, oh, I have a mitt. I have a waterproof mitt that I can use.
Yeah, I'll be out on tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah,
Wow.
Nice.
Well, tomorrow.
Richard's mitt is scary.
I've got the same mitt. I use the same mitt.
I tried flying with Richard's one, and my thumbs kept hitting the top, and it was like almost
You
crashing.
need to use an X-strap with it, George. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, but no. There's bondage equipment for flying helis. You don't need it.
Oh my God.
Well, I use it through winter, and actually, it was a really good winter hack. To be fair, that little mitt. I've got.
Even I used it for a bit.
I've acquired 2. I bought one from Rich, and I acquired the other one, and so I borrowed the other one out, and it's great. Like on a freezing cold day with cold winds, it really works. It works really well. So thanks, Rich. Thanks for that little tip.
Anytime.
Right. Okay, Rich. Tell us what you've been up to.
Nothing.
Somebody's lying.
Okay, so well, I mean, last time I crashed the Tron Advance at the MK at the Midland Fun Fly, so
Yes.
I said I'd get that flying, which I did.
Yeah.
I ended up taking it to the MK Heli Club Fun Fly, intending to fly it, and then George ended up taking some shims out of the main gear.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Whoops.
Needed spares, did you?
Yeah, he did need spares, and he looked so unhappy and sad. I thought, oh my God, this poor little guy. I have to help him out.
It's just those cute little puppy dog eyes, obviously.
Yeah, so I ended up taking the shims out and giving them to him, and he looked quite happy after that. And then it started, as George said, it started raining on the Saturday.
Yeah.
So I left early, and I ended up watching the Mikado V8 presentation.
Okay.
Which was fairly useless.
Right.
There was almost no information in there at all. So, but the positive was that they then released V8 later that night. I think it was available at like 11 or something.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, fairly early.
That I did see that go like viral on Facebook and all the social media posts of people upgrading as soon as it was released.
And then on the Sunday morning, the weather was fairly rubbish, so I ended up making the V8 video, which went out, and I think I got quite a few views on that.
Yep.
You got a lot of praise for that as well, Rich, to be fair.
Yeah. I just happened to get I got mine out sort of 24 hours before Jeff West did.
Okay.
But because he's a much bigger channel than me, he's since eclipsed my views. Such is life.
We'll get you there, Rich. One day we'll get you there.
Yeah. And then the following week, I think we went to North Notts, so we had Dan and Lee and Rob and Mick and Jason and James and everyone there. And
good bunch.
Yeah, that was a really good.
Great.
It's a little bit of a drive, but it was good fun. And then I've been listening to podcasts as well, and we actually got a mention on Rotor Revolution.
Yep.
And we also got a mention on Lone Star Rotors.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so that is awesome.
Wow. I think we should maybe reach out to them and do some sort of collaboration in the future. So, yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
He basically said if we make it to episode 20, then we're golden.
Well, we nearly struggled to get this one out, to be fair.
Baby steps. Baby steps.
But
one at a time.
But yes, that was my. That's what I've been doing since the last episode.
Okay.
Nice.
And then any local flying, guys? Did you guys manage to get down to your clubs?
Yeah, I got a bit done. Obviously, working hard-ish for Helifest, trying to get as many flights in as I can. Had a good few club sessions and barbecue day last Sunday actually at Cuffley, which was a nice day out. Same about the wind though; it won't bugger off.
No.
Well, last night was pretty good. I think I was out till about 9.
Yeah, it picked up a little bit, didn't it? Like the weather did sort of warm up.
It was raining here.
Yeah.
Not good.
Blame Richard. He's taking all the good weather.
How's Helifest practice going for you, George?
Yeah, it's going. I made a few slight tweaks, which I keep making slight adjustments to little things in my music, and I kind of need to just settle on it now. But I mean,
well, you've got a whole week. I mean, you know,
there's at least 4 flying days in there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've seen some of your stuff that you've been posting on social. On like you started a YouTube channel now, have you? Is that right? Or you?
a very poorly run YouTube channel, but yes, I've started a YouTube channel.
Good going. I've seen some of the flights and they look incredible, mate. So you're really putting some time and effort in. So fair play.
I've just got to try and do something that Richard's not doing on my channel.
Oh, that's tough. He seems to be doing everything.
Is there anything left? I don't know.
I might just have to do doing stupid
I think he's
stuff.
going to like blindfold flying next. That's his next adventure. Just fly with the force. That's Rich. I think that leads us up to upcoming events nicely. Helifest, guys, around the corner. We're a week away. So hopefully by the time this podcast comes out, we're on the weekend of Helifest. Always a busy event. Guys, should we just talk about what to expect?
Some flying, I think, hopefully.
There'll be a lot of that. Yeah, loads of flying. Loads of people there, hopefully, enjoying the show.
Hopefully some sun. Bit of sun will be nice.
Well, the competition starts on Saturday, as well as on the Sunday, but people tend to go a lot earlier as well. So sometimes you'll find people there from Thursday, possibly even Wednesday, if you know somebody.
We'll probably make it there for Thursday, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah, then the whole day of Friday for practice.
The flight line's open on Friday for practice.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's decent.
You just got to try and not hit anyone to the left or right of you.
Oh, is it going to be that busy?
They have 3 spots open, don't they?
There's 3 spots.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Saturday, which I think Saturday is normally... Is it Saturday or Sunday, the busiest day for Helifest?
Saturday, usually.
Saturday's usually busier than Sunday, but they're both fairly busy.
They are, but you see, to be fair, on Sunday, the audience kind of drops off around 3 or 4-ish.
Yeah, they start leaving already.
So, yeah.
I think it's just to avoid the car park getting out.
Oh, is that what it is?
The last few previous years when it's been raining, it's always been entertaining seeing the big John Deeres have to pull out all the people at the car parks.
Hopefully we don't have that. Yep. Fingers crossed. Yep.
So far, it's looking good.
Yeah, I've kept an eye on the weather. It is looking pretty decent, to be fair.
Cool. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
I remember last year I think the Saturday was just a downpour. It was really bad.
The whole weekend was bad.
I think that the sun actually made an appearance on Sunday, but
Thursday I got sunburn. So that
Nice.
Well, I think the forecast is fairly reasonable.
10-mile-an-hour winds by the look of it.
Cool.
It's a 15 gust.
almost perfect conditions.
There's a bunch of international pilots coming over this year as well, isn't there? There's like an international side competition, and
Yeah, it's really picked up.
a lot of pilots coming in. It's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah, so there's been some announcements on that side. So I know OMP have sponsored the event, and some of their pilots are coming over. And also this week, it'll be announced that Goose Guy, some of the Goose Guy pilots are coming over and sponsored the event. So there's some big names and some decent international pilots that are going to be coming over. So it'd be nice to actually meet them.
That's cool.
And anybody else that's there, anybody that wants to come say hi to us, please do come say hello to all of us. I'm sure we'll be dotted around.
I know where I'll be.
I'll probably be helping you out, Rob. I'll
Thank
feel
you.
for you.
I'll hide on the plane line then.
We'll probably be in the Midlands tent helping Rob out. Bless him.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy one.
It's going to be busy, but yeah, really looking forward to that, guys. So whoever can make it, please do attend Helifest. It's like one of the best UK events. Probably one of the biggest.
The best.
The format's changed as well, so it should be interesting for some of the pros. And we've got some great sports pilots and grassroots pilots entering this year.
Is Sonny one of those?
Unfortunately not. No, I'm helping Rob in the shop.
Oh, it's a new excuse. Right.
Right, we're going to get another contract for it now.
Rob needs help in the shop and mentally.
All of the above.
We need to supervise Rob, unfortunately, this year.
You only need to be on the flight line for 5 minutes. No excuse.
Well, bring your Helis anyway, because you are going to fly.
I think I'll bring my little M2 V3 Pro. I'll definitely bring that along.
Bring your 700.
Nice.
Maybe for the fun flying, maybe. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So, sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah.
The news.
Right, guys, time to get into the news. There's plenty to talk about. Let's start off with the big one, Mikado V8 software update. Rob and Rich have been testing this out. I unfortunately haven't had time to upgrade. But guys, thoughts, feedback?
Yeah, I mean, I've again, as in episode 1, I was lucky enough to be running this on a couple of helis prior to its release for a few months, and was enjoying that quite a lot. Obviously, once it got released, Mikado had published some documentation to go through a sort of tuning regime, should we call it? A few simple steps to follow to get a helicopter tuned in. Obviously, you start out with doing your upgrade, and after you've done the upgrade, you then go through a mechanical check over. Just look at the heli setup, make sure everything is still operating correctly, your pitch is all set correctly and everything. I updated all 4 of my helis on the evening they released it on the Saturday, ready to fly on the Sunday, of course, being a lunatic. So having updated them all, checked all the pitch settings and everything, and nothing had gone awry anywhere. It was all just spot on. And so then I went through the initial setups as they described, chose the 3D Pro option. The defaults from there to where I ended up were quite a long way off. It's completely flyable on that setting, but it's just a bit meh. It's just, I mean, you've got to imagine that they've got to put that out to suit any helicopter realistically,
Right.
which is probably an impossible task. So click a button and a heli will fly on those settings, which it does. And then you'll obviously tune it to your model from there and then get your settings how you prefer them, which makes sense.
Right.
To say it's like a preset, I think, is a bit of a reach. It gets a heli flying.
Have you tried any of the other presets that it gives you? I think there's 3 options.
I actually haven't. I caught a glimpse of a short video that Kyle Stacey put out where he had a goblin sat on the field in front of him waiting to fly, and then just clicked the Go 3D Pro, took off and flew it.
Oh, wow.
Proving the point, it takes off and flies, and then you can dial your settings in after that.
Right.
So it works, but I'm like, he can do that. That's what I'm going to do. So that's what I did.
So I actually did go through all of the settings and tested them.
Oh, okay.
However, I found that they were fairly useless.
There you go.
in what sense, then, Rich? What did you find? What didn't you like?
Well, I tend to run my banks so that they've all got the same agility and roll rates and pirouette speeds, but they just run different head speeds.
Okay.
And the way that the defaults are is they're just not like that. The first one will give you like an hovering style.
Yeah.
And then your bank 2 will give you something in the middle, and then your bank 3 will be slightly more agile. So, but
Right.
I just found that none of the profiles really fitted to what I was looking for.
That's interesting because I do the opposite. I do have different agilities and rates in different banks.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is you probably have your preferred agilities and rates for each bank, and the odds are it's not going to match what they give you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
So was it a nightmare to go back and tune, or was it quite
No,
simple to do?
they've actually, because they've removed some of the settings, so they've removed pitch bump and style, and I think 2 of the other ones as well. So it's far, far easier to tune because if effectively you set your roll rate to what you want it to be. It's a fixed concrete value that you like, and then you just keep upping the gain until it gets too high, and then from there you've only really got 2 values you need to change on the main rotor.
So what are the 2 values then? Because obviously I have not deep dived into this, unfortunately. I've not had the opportunity to actually look into this. So what are the 2 values and what are the parameters that you get to set?
I think it was it stick response?
Stick direct.
Stick direct,
which defaults to half of the agility setting.
And then control response.
And control response, yeah. Which is how fast is it going to go and do what you've just told it to do. So on your quick scroll up screen, you've still got 3 settings. They're just 3 slightly different ones. You've got agility for the main rotor, agility, and then control response and gain.
Right, okay.
So the 3 main things that will affect how the head feels of the helicopter.
Yeah.
And then on your tail rotor, you've got the rate, which is your pirouette speed.
Yeah.
And control response again and gain again.
Wow.
The 3 main things that will affect how the tail feels.
That sounds like they've really simplified that then, to be fair.
Yeah, they have.
They really have, yeah.
Just done what Futaba have been doing for years.
Oh, that's nice of them.
George just had to get that one in.
Yeah, so just jumping back onto the tuning stuff, I went out on the Sunday, having updated everything ready for flying on the Saturday, and it was howling a minimum of 20 miles an hour wind and like gusting ridiculously high.
I was quite shocked that you actually went out.
so the M4 Max, the smallest of my 4, was a fun experience in that kind of wind, but still flew it, obviously, because you've got to have a play around with these things.
They hold up their maxes.
They're superb anyway. So yeah, just went through and had a few flights. Probably had 3 or 4 batteries through each heli to get the settings close to where I wanted them to be. Tuning in strong wind, not getting any bad gain waggles and bobbles or anything like that going on. Everything was just solid.
Right.
And then since that time, the following weekend when it was a bit quieter, I've dialed things in just a fraction more, just to get them even better, really. It was small changes, to be honest. I think dialing it in strong wind was actually a good option, because if it'll do it in strong wind and there's nothing wrong, it'll do it in calm conditions just fine.
Wow.
Having done all of those, following the guide, tuning the head, setting the gains, and all that sort of stuff, I thought it might be a useful idea to share settings out there fairly early on with people. So I put those online in a little web app that I built.
I saw that. That's very useful.
My 4 models settings went into that web app. Shared that online for people to make use of, which I've had a few nice comments about, which is cool. Glad people are finding it useful.
No, definitely, Rob. That gave people a very good start point, to be fair.
And then from there, my M6, I decided I needed to change the tail blade length on it, because when I got to push it really hard, I found I was missing mechanical gain on a 95mm tail blade. So bumped those up to a 105, which then changed some tail settings, obviously. Increased mechanical gain, your electronic gain, because I need adjusting down to accommodate that. So updated the app details after I tuned that again. So yeah, that's kind of my experience so far of tuning it. I found it pretty straightforward. I followed the guide that had been written up by Mikado. It's not a long guide. It walks you through what to do in what order.
Okay.
The one thing that I did that I wasn't sure made any difference, actually, was plugged in the ESC throttle output into the V-Bar's RPM input.
Yeah.
Because apparently it can use the RPM input in the algorithm to help. Now, whether it does that when you're using the ESC governor or not, I believe it does, but I'm not certain. But I'm not using the V-Bar governor, although I will have a play around with that just to see what's what.
Okay, that's interesting. Rich, your experiences?
Yeah, so I did similar to Rob. I installed it Saturday night, late, when flying on Sunday. So first I went through all of the settings, so setting it up as a scale and then setting it up as a, I'm not actually sure what the four are, Sport and 3D Pro.
Right.
And I went through all of those just to see what they would do. I wasn't too impressed. They didn't really match what I was looking for anyway. So my process was pretty much just making the rotation values similar to what I was using before.
Right.
They don't exactly match what was on the Evo on V7. You have to bump them up slightly, I think, to get the same roll rates and agility.
They've changed the scaling on the
numbers, they've definitely changed it, because the top end scale now goes up to 480 or whatever it is on the rotation. But yes, the scaling has changed. And then the only real tuning I did was I just started bumping up the gains on the tail and the head. I got somewhere into the hundreds, 150 on the gains. And then I was so excited because it was a lovely flying day, so I just flew and I stopped messing around. So that's all I've done on that, really. I probably will bump the gains up further and start playing with the stick direct and control response.
Rob, you're using the new gimbals, aren't you, with the new Mikado gimbals?
Yeah.
And did you play around with the input settings of them as well? Did you test them out?
Not since going to V8, I haven't. I have previously had a little change of the settings.
Right, okay.
I can't remember. I think I use them on, is it standard it's called?
Right.
I can't remember the names of them all, but there's two settings above the one that I'm using, which is like fast and then gun move to Thailand setting, I think, is the top one. Something like
that.
Right. Insane. So I bumped it. I tried bumping it up one setting,
right.
And it was a noticeable change.
Okay.
That I was definitely not used to. I guess you would get used to it if you flew it for quite a bit and tried it out and settled into it. But I tried that one setting and went to go and have a flight, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to switch that back again and just fly for the day, I think, for now.
Is it a case of I'm too old for this?
Basically.
As a non-V-Bar user, does it change the speed of the heli?
I guess it makes it feel like it does. It's more about the stick response on the transmitter, what the stick is actually doing, signal process-wise. So yeah, it speeds things up there, and yeah.
I had a play on my mates with the different settings on his Tron Dynamic. And to be fair, between the standard one and the top one, I couldn't feel too much in it.
Really?
Really, yeah.
I found a noticeable change in the one that I use and just the one up from that.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Might be a case of the Tic Tacs v paracetamol argument.
It's just old. It's old age, George.
It's the placebo effect. So, guys, overall opinion then of V8. I mean, I've flown it. Rob gave me the opportunity of actually flying it on the Max. I found it so crisp and so sharp. I did find it night and day difference between V7 and V8. How did you guys find it?
I think it's a definite improvement. I think the moment I put it on and I switched it over to V8, you can absolutely feel the difference, and it absolutely it feels better. And I've been asked this question before about should people who don't have the Evo, the V-Bar Evo, should they consider upgrading and having to buy an Evo and do all of that stuff? And I think my suggestion would be buy one. Don't upgrade your entire fleet. Buy one. See what it's like.
Try it
out, and then you can see if it's worth it. But the thing is that because of the cost, I don't think people have to feel like they're losing out by staying on V7.
No. So for me, the differences, the similarities maybe is start there first. Nothing wrong with V7 or V6 if you've got a Neo, but if you've got an Evo, you go on V7. They fly fantastically well, and the general flight feel is going to be much the same because that's what flybarless helis do. Where the difference comes for me is in the responsivity of the model. So you've got now tunability to how quickly things happen on the model when you request it of the model. Right. Where before that was far less tunable, now it can be very aggressively tuned if that's what you're looking for. As well as still being planted and flying dead straight and true and all that good stuff, So that, for me, is where it comes along. It's silky smooth. It flies really, really nice. To get V8, you have to have a V-Bar Evo.
Yes.
And it has to be on at least Pro firmware. So if you've got a normal Evo, you can't use V8 on it unless you upgrade it to either Pro or Pro Rescue. Once you've got Pro or Pro Rescue on your Evo, you can then upgrade it to V8. You can also roll it back to V7 if you want, if you don't like V8 for some reason or other.
Yeah.
That's an option.
Yep.
You can save model setups on your transmitter. It's all dead easy. So...
but what I would say is I have seen some posts where, machines have gone wrong. Do double check your setups, guys. But once you do this upgrade, just make sure you do an initial
give your setup a once over, and then just check your sensings all in the right direction. Do your pre-flight checks as you normally would.
Yeah.
I didn't find any issues. I did 4 of them. Just go through everything. Just give it a double check.
Cool. Guys, anything else to add on V8?
Yeah, so I don't know if any of you listened to the Skids Up podcast.
I didn't, no.
Right, okay. So episode 72, Steve Ewan actually goes through his tuning on the V-Bar Evo on V8, and he's actually done a really good job. It's definitely worth listening to.
Cool.
Definitely. We'll check that out. I think anything that can help tune and sort of tweak and dial it in.
Have a listen.
Yeah, definitely have a listen to it.
Yeah.
But it's always great supporting another podcast. So, yeah, guys, go check that out and go have a listen. Right, guys, so that covers V8. I think that was the most interesting, the big bit of news that we had to cover. Really exciting. I know a lot of people are waiting for that. I can't wait to upgrade my fleet, to be fair. Hopefully get it done before Helifest, and I'll get Rob to do some tuning.
There is the slight niggle, though, currently, of the Mikado site being down. So currently you can't register new things, but you can upgrade them if you send them an email. They've put a post up on the Vstabi site detailing how to go about doing that so that you can actually get upgraded if you've already got a registered V-Bar Evo.
Right.
They do hope to have that problem resolved. It's not Mikado's problem. It's the company that Mikado use for hosting their systems. So fingers crossed by the time you're hearing this podcast, everything's resolved anyway. But that's where we're at.
There is a workaround and they're on it. So I think their host's been hacked or something, apparently.
Something like that, yeah. So, not good.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'll get it sorted, guys. And, V8 will be back. But as Rob said, there is a workaround. So if you need to get them devices updated, do that. And enjoy V8 because it's great. Just moving on then. So I've been fortunate enough to get an OMP Hobby M2, a V3 Pro. I've been flying that last Sunday. Put about 5-6 packs through it. I just wanted to say I think that thing flies incredible. So we had Jonas on the last episode just talking about it, and I just wanted to quickly touch upon the point. I like some of the things that he said about that machine. It's very different. It flies very different. It's very stable as well. It flies almost like a little baby 700 when you could just TikTok it like a 700. I'm really impressed with that little
Same.
monster.
Yep. I'm the same.
How are you getting on with yours, Rob?
Well, I've not got enough flying on it yet, but I have done some, and it's a phenomenal bit of kit. Promises delivered, I think, is the best way to describe that.
Yeah, it's a great little bit of kit. Plus, we've got the newly announced Saab Raw 520, which is coming out. So hopefully in our next episode or future episode, we'll have a Saab team pilot joining us to give us the lowdown on the new 520.
Il Goblin Pro 520. Nice. Yep.
Nice little bit of kit. That looks great. Other news, there's been a new Goose Guy S2 Max that's been announced. Again, I think that's a 200 size heli based on previous platform, but they've done some upgrades in the background. They've been doing some, I think there was some new motors or something like that, and blade size that they've increased. So looking forward to seeing that, to be fair.
There's also the new arrival of the Tron Dynamic Pro into the UK market. That should be available in UK shops starting, well, the week this podcast is out, all being well.
Have we got any more news on that, Rich? George, have you guys got yours? Or
I have ordered one, so I guess as soon as they're in the shops, I'll be getting mine.
Awesome.
Cool.
I call in a rain check for the Dynamic for now, because I need to get my 2.7s up to standard.
Right.
Because I need to new ESC and other things, so I might have to wait till the end of the year for the Dynamic.
Any further news on the Supreme, or what they were calling it? Have we heard any more? Or is that
Nothing
still
yet. Just be patient, people.
But I love the color schemes of that Dynamic. I've seen some release pictures of it now, and
Very bright.
The American guys have already got theirs as well. So apparently, it's getting some really good feedback. We can't wait to see that in the air. To be fair, Rich, do we get a go when you get one?
That would be a no.
Rude.
No, so what I'm actually going to do with that Dynamic is, because I've had a couple of requests to do V-Bar setup videos, so I think I'm going to build the Dynamic and then do like 2 V-Bar setup videos and tuning on V8.
Okay, that'd be good.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Lucky I've got Rob. He does my tuning. Lastly, the big bit of news that we've got, Nick Maxwell. Guys, he's now joined the SAB team, which is a pretty huge move in the heli world.
We'd not heard from Nick for quite a little while, which was unusual, but good to see he's up and running and doing well, and now flying Saab.
Surprised me, to be fair, a little bit, especially with his name plastered all over XL Power.
Yeah, that is quite an interesting one.
Well, there we go.
Yep. And then also just the Trinity units as well. They're apparently getting closer to release. I know they've been on the radars for a while, but apparently there's a couple of pilots flying them now.
Yeah, so our Clem has been on the Hangout as well as Helifreak, saying that he's been flying it and it's pretty close to release. And then Lone Star Rotors, they did a live podcast from the field, and then one of the reps they interviewed said he was flying the Trinity, and it was also pretty close.
Exciting stuff. Might be the one unit that would get me away from Futaba.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Well, we need someone on the group to do it, George.
You're gonna have to test it.
Well,
George.
I need a radio I can fly planes and helis on without having to spend money on a Neo as a receiver.
Well, apparently the Matrix, is it? Transmitter? Yeah. You can basically fly anything off that transmitter, including the Trinity.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe you should reach out to Nick Maxwell, George.
I have to get someone he knows to do that for me, so get a good word in.
We'll sort something.
I'd love to give one.
Well, they do the Elite as well, don't they?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to try it. I think he did come over last year at Helifest. if I remember. And they were demoing the Trinity system there.
They were.
It looked fantastic, to be fair. But yeah,
Radio feels so nice in the hands. That's the one thing it got me.
It does feel like a good quality bit of kit. But yeah, just need it out now, please, Nick. Right, guys, anything else to add on the news segment?
Not to, pop the scale stuff into the conversation for a change, as usual, but the spare parts have arrived for the Goose Guy E2 scale that was recently released.
Good news. Good news. Rob has flown a scale heli.
That's it. We can keep Rob in the air now. That's
it. I'm happy now.
Were you waiting on the spares, Rob?
Yeah, no.
Can that E2 do 3D?
I don't know.
I think you need to give it a go.
You should have tried.
Yeah, I'm not convinced I should have tried.
Spares are here now. What can you lose?
I don't know. You see those videos of people 3Ding scale helis, and I just... it doesn't sit right with me.
It's probably fun for about a minute, and then that's it.
Yeah, you get bored. Yeah, bored. Right, Rob, thanks for letting us know that the spares are in for your favourite heli. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Right, guys, now to the new section that we've added to the podcast, a new Q&A segment. This is where I reached out to our heli crew and said, guys, any questions that you want to put to us, please put in the comments. And we had 3, so I'll pass it over to the team. Rob, do you want to answer the first one?
Sure, yeah. Jonathan asked, as someone who is looking at getting into helicopters and has already used a simulator for a while, what would be a good helicopter to start with? Unsurprisingly, working at Midland Helicopters, I get this question an awful lot from people wanting to get into the hobby. The go-to response these days is look at the OMP M2 or the Goose Guy S2. They are both cracking little flying models. They've got safe modes built into them to help with learning to hover and orientate yourself. Let go of the stick, the model itself level.
Yeah.
Then inexpensive helis to get started with. Fantastic value, and I think head and shoulders above basically anything else equivalent currently.
I do have to agree. I think that is a decent size to start off with, 200 size, something that's ready built. You're not having to learn how to build a helicopter again, which can get a little bit complicated first time round. They're out the box, they're ready to go. Spares are cheap and they're really easy to work on, and quite safe. To sort of start with. I know when I started, again, touching upon it in the first episode, we were flying 30 size, which is equivalent 550 size. But tech has moved on a very long way now to get these machines to how to fly the way they do. And I'd 100% maybe say like the S2, M2's 100% the way to go now.
Totally.
Rich, any thoughts on starter helis?
Yeah, so I'm going to counter that, and I'm going to go slightly bigger with a 380/420 size.
Right.
Ooh.
I think they're not as skittish as the S2 or the M2 or that size. They tend to be a little bit more planted in the air. They handle the wind a little bit better. And also, when the time comes for you to work on them, because the parts are bigger, they're just so much easier than these tiny, tiny little things that you have to work on the 200.
Well, I agree. I mean, at the same time, you have to learn how to build a heli pretty much straight away on the spot, which isn't a bad thing because it teaches you. Mm-hmm. But there's a much higher risk in a 420 compared to an S2, especially if you had an accident or anything else when first learning. So I feel like if you're going to move to like a 380 or 420, you need a hell of a lot of sim time to make sure you're 100% confident in flying a heli to start with.
Definitely.
Although I do agree with the fact that they do fly better and probably slightly easier to fly.
That's always the case. The bigger the machine, the easier they are to fly.
And you've got the crash costs as well.
You do have to consider that.
And 6S batteries.
Exactly. Yep. It's quite expensive to get into, but these smaller machines, these 200 sizes, a good entry level. Even speaking to Jonas, he even said like the M1s that comes as a really decent package now with the transmitter, so you can get into Helis smaller size for a really good value. So again, you might want to consider something a little bit smaller if you can fly it indoors. You won't be affected by wind. An M1 outdoors, my advice is an M2 200 size, something like that.
I would say though, if you're someone who's coming back into the hobby, go straight for the 420 size. If you've had previous experience, that's the one thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Because it's more,
if you're comfortable building,
if you're comfortable
and setting that up,
and setting it up, because you need to know how to build and set up, and you might lose your patience with a 420.
I don't think anything bigger than a 420 is sort of reasonable. Like, wouldn't go down that road. 550
I don't think you need to now.
Yeah, like a 550.
When I started, there was no option, but now there is, and they're superb options.
Exactly. Tech eases the fly, as they say. Rich, we've got another question from Stephen. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, we do. So Stephen has asked, do you guys still use Expo on modern setups? And yes, we do. So I find that people or pilots who fly pinch or hybrid tend to use a little bit less Expo. So they might be using 10, 15, 20% Expo. Yeah. And I find that maybe pilots that use thumbs only, they tend to use a slightly higher amount of Expo. So,
yep.
Yeah, so we still do. I mean, I'm a thumb pilot. My Expo figures are around sort of anywhere between 25 to 35% on my radio. That's where I sort of feel comfortable, and it sort of hides the shakes as well when you get a bit nervous.
Agree. As the shakiest man in the UK, I have to have at least 35% Expo.
I think you've got some competition on that one, dude.
Oh, I don't know. You got it. I can't even put a bolt in straight without it falling off 7 times.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Stephen. Next question we had, Martin. George, I think you're going to take this one.
So when's the next podcast out? Don't leave us hanging. Well, I think you're listening to it, so it's here.
Yeah, but what about the next one?
Oh, God. Those come to those who wait, good things, or something like that.
Good things. Good things come to
it'll be post Helifest either way.
Yeah, so...
post Helifest.
You will.
So we're aiming to get these podcasts out every 2 weeks, guys. And unfortunately, I just got a bit tied up. It's my fault. I take full responsibility of this one being slightly delayed.
No, it's fair enough. You were avoiding all the fun flies. So.
Better late than never, you know.
It's about the quality, not the quantity.
Guest feature.
Right, guys, it's time for our guest segment, and we're excited to have Hamish Morley join us. Hamish, first of all, thank you for joining us. Let's go right back to the start. Can you tell us how you first got into the hobby and what your first model was?
Yeah, so thanks for inviting me. So about 13 years ago for Christmas, my parents got me a coaxial toy helicopter. And I remember just kind of flying that around in the living room, kind of every second I had, learning figure of eights and all of this, and then kind of progressed to an MCPX, and then up to TRX 250, 450, and 550. And then first competition was Air in 2015, and yeah, it's kind of gone from there really.
Oh wow! Okay, so you started off with coaxial. I think I did. I think I had an MSR. I think one of them. I think it was fixed pitch
the blade one.
The blade. So I've had a lot of helis in my day. And then the MCPX, when that came around, they were sort of game changers.
Yeah,
that was the first sort of micro heli that could do 3D.
Yeah, I mean that's what I learned to fly inverted on. I'm sure many other people are in the same boat as well.
So with my blade MSR, because it was fixed pitch, what I did was I bought a set of inverted blades for it. So
oh really?
Yeah, so I used to take it off upside down in my hand to try and learn how to fly upside down. The silly things that I used to do to try and learn how to fly.
What is in the pitch? The blade was reversed.
It was reversed, yeah, so you could fly it inverted.
Seem to remember those blades came off a different model. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it worked.
It worked,
which was fun.
It's just trying to land was the hard part.
Oh, well, because you obviously couldn't flip it back over, so
you just had to drop it.
Yeah.
You just had to
land on the head.
Exactly. Or catch it. You could catch them back then.
So, Hamish, you've just established you've been flying about 13 years. So, from that start point and then getting up to your first competition, how has things sort of evolved for you from that point forward and getting you to where you are like today, kind of?
Yeah, so from that point forward, I've kind of progressed from sport class up to pro class in UK competitions. I've then got into night flying in 2016 with the RGB LEDs. They did that for quite a few years over in Global 3D as well. And then had a bit of a break over COVID and then been back at it since 2021 now. So yeah.
Cool. Are you still doing night flying stuff?
I've got plans to next year. It's just extremely time consuming, and I haven't really had the time the last couple of years. But
yeah, indeed. Well, it'd be good to see that again because I do recall some of your night flying rigs and flights, especially like a globe and such, being kind of epic. So it'd be good to see that stuff again.
Yeah. Well, next year I'm hoping to do it again. I've got a few plans, few new ideas, but it's just finding the time to execute it. Really.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
Hamish, so what inspired you to start Kinisy? Is that right? Is that how you say it, Kinisy?
So it's Kinisy. So Kinisy started Kinisy in 2013, I think, and it was initially for the first few years we're just looking at developing AI models for motion tracking and wearable sensors, so like your Fitbit and stuff. And I mean that's still ongoing now. And then about a year ago, I got back into Nitro and thought, I'd like to put a glow igniter on this, but there wasn't really anything on the market that I wanted. So I just thought, I'm sure I can make one, and that was that really.
Okay, so let's talk about the smart glow system a little bit more, Hamish. So for people that don't fly Nitro or are new to RC helis, what is smart glow and how would you say it differs from a traditional glow system?
So traditionally you have a glow stick which you'll push onto the glow plug to ignite the engine, but what I found was annoying about this is once you've started the engine, then you've got to put the canopy on, and then you walk out, and then as soon as you put the model on the floor, the engine cuts out. So the good thing with smart glow is that it's powered off the receiver battery, and you can trigger the ignition off your radio or the button on board the unit. So I mean the beauty of it is you can plug the model in, put the canopy on, and then all you've got to do is flick that switch on the transmitter, start the model, and you're away. If I'm honest, I've only just recently put a production model onto one of my models, and I was actually quite surprised at how much easier it is than using the traditional glow stick.
Right, I get you. I think we've all been there where we've sort of started our nitros, walked out to the flight line, and your nitros are cut out on you.
Or you forget to charge the glow stick, and all of it kind of removes all of those factors to it.
Right. Yeah.
So does it keep glowing? Obviously not permanently because that would burn plugs. But does it keep glowing while you're carrying it out, or do you have to deactivate it on the switch before you start flying? Is that what it does?
So you don't have to deactivate it. It's got a 15-second cutoff. So after 15 seconds, it will turn off. So even if you activate it on the switch and forget to flick the switch back, you haven't really got to worry about burning the plugs out.
Oh, that's cool. Nice. What sort of physical size is the unit?
It's 47 millimeters long.
Okay, quite small then. That's good.
And then 10 millimeters wide and 8.5 millimeters high. So it's a pretty small unit.
And what kind of weight is it? I know people are concerned with weights on nitros, especially lightweight nitros. So what kind of weight?
I'm not sure what the actual unit is, but packaged up with all the cables, it's 60 grams. So I'd imagine the unit's probably about 35, 40 grams.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not heavy. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
it's pretty
good.
small and compact.
So is there any kind of tech or innovation built into it to make it intelligent?
So Smart Glow in its current form was designed to be as reliable and robust as possible. So there's not as many features as you may find in other competitors' glow igniters. However, I mean, the glow plug detection is probably the most innovative feature. So it can not only differentiate between a blown plug, but also a partially blown plug. So
That's neat.
How does that work, Hamish?
so it measures the resistance through the plug, and you can tell
When it's on its way out.
when it's on its way out, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
with I've got so many ideas about where next with it, and there's a lot more innovation, I'm sure, to come.
So how does it know when a plug's on its way out? So you said it measures resistance, but then how does it notify the pilot? Is it an LED? An LED?
Yeah, so the LED on the unit, essentially when you press the switch on the transmitter or press the button, it will flash red if there's no glow plug or it's a dodgy glow plug, and then if there is a glow plug, it will light up green. Essentially, it's pretty straightforward to use.
Right. And then is there any sort of compatibility with the transmitter to sort of put that information back to the pilot on a transmitter? Does it work that way or not?
No, but that's a good thought actually. It's just probably difficult getting the. I mean, most people obviously are on Mikado. It's probably difficult to get that integration, isn't it?
I was thinking maybe like for V-Bar with Mikado, for example, development of an app. Is that something that could happen in the pipeline where, you could publish an app and have more integration with V-Bar maybe?
Yeah, that's a good thought actually. That is a good thought.
I just
Yeah.
I just know for someone like myself, sometimes I just don't pay attention to what's on my heli. So having notifications on my transmitter and something
Yeah,
beeping and alarming at me would always stand out for me.
yeah, that's not a bad idea actually.
Custom alerts would be kind of cool from your radio. Yeah, nice. So you've had some units out there in the field, so to speak, with obviously beta testers, and now it's released. You've actually got legitimate users of it as well. Let's
Yeah,
say, have you had any sort of feedback, positive, negative, or otherwise? How's it going?
yes, I think we've shipped over 100 units now, and we've had lots
Wow.
of positive feedback, especially from the UK as well as further afield, as well as quite a lot of constructive feedback as what features they would perhaps like to incorporate in a future model. So
All
we're
right,
currently kind of taking all of that on board and looking where next, really.
awesome. Yeah,
Wow.
cool.
And would you say the market for nitro, Hamish, is still there? Because I know a lot of people have moved to electric now, but
It's no, sorry. It's kind of surprised me, to be honest. I was expecting to not really sell that many at all, and I've sold way more than I thought, which is always good. So yeah, I would say the market is still definitely there.
yeah, because I think perception of nitro has definitely changed. I, for one, wanted to get back into nitro. I built a Nitron,
Oh yeah,
just because I haven't flown nitro for a very, very long time. It was nice to get back into it and actually feel what a modern day nitro is like. And it's sort of the flying side of things has very much changed. Where we used to fly nitro all the time,
yeah,
it's now become something very special for me. It's something that it's your Sunday best machine, as I call it.
yeah. That's a good way to put it.
It's your pride and joy. You go and have great, calm flights on it, and then you use your electric to sort of practice and learn other things. I mean, that's how I'm using it. But I'm finding I'm really liking nitro again. So it seems like
There's,
the market and demand is picking up.
yeah, definitely. There's something about nitro which you just don't get with electric. So it's the kind of feedback from the model.
Exactly. It teaches you a lot as well. So I know a lot of people always spoke to me about collective management on nitro, and you've got to be smoother.
Yeah,
You can't
Exactly
go
that.
in, stick bang and bog that motor out. So it teaches you a lot. So were there any technical challenges that you faced during the development of the smart
um,
gland?
I think The unit itself is fairly simple. So inside there's a PCB, and then that's housed in a CNC machined housing. I think the biggest issue during the development was going from having a few prototypes to mass producing them in quantities of at least 100, which is, I mean, the first batch was quite a lot smaller, and per unit
Yeah.
took about an hour and a half just to assemble them all together because it's quite involved. So I think the biggest challenge has been reducing that time down to make it more feasible, because an hour and a half for each one is a bit ridiculous.
So
Yeah.
So are you actually manufacturing in the UK then as well, or is it manufactured
So
abroad?
there's most of the components are manufactured abroad and then assembled in the UK, but there's quite a lot of assembly steps, if that makes sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But as many of the components as possible are manufactured in the UK, but economically it's just impossible to make everything here.
No, I get it, but it's nice to see that the idea and the innovation came from the UK. And like a platform like this can give pilots the innovation and the ideas of voice, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you designed the Smart Glow, did you have any specific pilot in mind? I mean, is it just for hardcore nitro guys, or is it for beginners?
It's just for any pilot really. The nitro market, like Sonny's touched on already, is already pretty small. So it wasn't really focused towards a specific user, more just for someone who wants to just a bit more ease, really.
Right.
So with the obviously you've touched a little bit on potential future features that probably can't discuss that you might add into the Smart Glow, but have you got any other products like already available or in the pipeline?
Yes, we've also got the RPM sensor, which we released a couple of weeks ago, and that's selling well. So I mean, an RPM sensor is pretty straightforward, but I was always finding that when I take the fan shroud off and put it all back together, that it would be sometimes a bit of a pain to align the RPM sensor with the fan disc. And I suddenly thought of the idea: what if there was an LED on the sensor so that you could visually see when the magnet and the sensor are aligned? So that's basically the concept behind it, and it's got
an LED on there. You said.
Yes, there's an LED on the RPM sensor itself, which visually shows you when
it's sensing. That's cool.
The Hall effect sensor is aligned with the magnet, which is pretty useful for debugging and stuff as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
Does it work like a traditional magnet sensor in that case? So I'm not too familiar with the technical ins and outs of nitro, but I use a backplate sensor on mine, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
So how does this RPM sensor work for the uninitiated?
So the sensor itself in a backplate sensor or a more traditional RPM sensor senses the magnetic field. So using a Hall effect sensor,
right?
And it picks up on the magnets on the fan disc. So you normally have two magnets with opposing poles, and then each time the magnet passes over the sensor, it picks up that and sends it to your flybarless to decode essentially. Right. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward if I'm honest. But yeah, it wouldn't be compatible with on the backplate though.
Okay, got you. And so where do you see Kinisy going next then? Have you got anything else in the pipeline? Any other tricks up your sleeve?
Probably nothing that I can speak about at the minute, but I kind of short term I'd like to probably bring out a few more heli products, and then looking a bit further forward into the future, kind of progress out, kind of not out of the heli market, but bring in other products for the wider consumer market. That's the plan, really.
That's the overall plan. Got you.
So, Hamish, so for people who want to get their hands on the Smart Glow, I mean, how do they do that? Where do we find that? And what kind of support can they expect as well?
So it depends where you're from. So if you're from the UK, you can purchase one from Kinisy.co.uk, our website. And we've also got distributors in other countries. So we've got Heli Direct in the US, we've got ERC Market in Belgium, we've got Goblin Hobbies in South Africa, as well as plans for quite a few more distributors in other countries. And
Oh, wow.
we're also going to be at Helifest in a couple of weeks. So look out for
Nice.
a good deal that we're hopefully gonna have on.
I
And
think I'll actually need to get one at Helifest then, Hamish. Look after me.
yeah, I'm sure we can work something out.
I've been eager to try one actually. I'll put one on my Tron. Like you said, I am really fed up with the traditional glow sticks. I mean, they work great and everything, but it's just that inconvenience of when you do sort of put the canopy on and it cuts out. You've got to take the
Take
canopy
it off
off
again.
and
Yeah.
then go
Remember
through
to charge it up.
go through the whole process. And
That's
Rob,
that's
Rob,
always got me. It's remembering to charge up. You go kind of drive 45 minutes to the field, excited to fly it, and then your glow stick's dead.
Exactly. I was going to say, Rob knows me really well that I never have anything charged.
Yeah.
I get shouted
Luckily,
at.
I do, and I don't have a nitro currently, so yeah, that'll change.
Yeah, so Rob has everything we need in the back of his car.
But yeah, in terms of the support, I think we haven't touched wood. We haven't had any failures yet. But if again, there's 1 year warranty, so if there are any issues, we're more than happy to sort it out.
No, but it does look like a great product, Hamish. Honestly, when I saw the design of it, it just looks so sleek and so simple, and it's just like, well, why was this not invented any earlier?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the aim of it. There's no point overcomplicating something that doesn't need to be overcomplicated, is there?
No, and I love the fact that it can integrate with like the program, well, the transmitters and stuff that I use, like V-Bar, is programmable via macro cells to a switch.
Yeah.
I just love that simplicity for me. So yeah, I think I'd definitely be interested in getting one, and I will try it out, and I will put a review on the podcast of what we
Yeah,
think.
well, thank you very much.
Touching on that, just one more thought occurred was,
Yeah, go for it.
do you, on your website, Hamish, do you have any sort of help articles for setup and that sort of thing, specifically towards like V-control users and macro cell setup?
Yeah, so when you buy a smart glow, it comes with a little instruction guide, which is also on our website. And
Okay.
in that instruction guide, I just took a photo of my macro cell setup in the V-Bar. So without looking on Google or anything, you can just see exactly what to set up in the macro cells, because it can be a bit fiddly being when there's so many cell types.
Right.
Yeah, sure. No, that's cool. That's cool.
I think off the top of my head, I think Rob Bingham did a great video on YouTube of getting that set up. I believe. I think he did.
Yes,
something.
there's Rob Bingham and Connor Sloan have done a nice little video setting them up.
We'll see if we can post that link into the podcast description as well, guys, for you to check out. So, a little link to the video so you can actually see Rob Bingham setting up the Kinisy smart glow.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
does.
Thank you very much, Hamish. I really appreciate your time.
Well, yeah, thanks for inviting me.
No, thank you. Right, guys, that wraps up episode 2 of Hooked on Helis. A massive thank you again to Hamish Morley for joining us today, and of course, all of you for tuning in once again.
Sorry, I missed another interview.
Be in the next one, though.
Yeah, I will be.
We hope you're enjoying the format so far. Whether you're listening from the car, the workshop, or the flight line, we're here to bring you the latest from the RC heli world. Don't forget to follow us on social media, drop us a message with your thoughts or questions, and if you like what you hear, share the podcast with your fellow pilots. Until next time, make sure you stay hooked on helis.
Like and subscribe.
Yay! Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye for now.